My purpose here today is to encourage. My purpose is to encourage the encourager. That's what I'm here to do today. Yeah. And while you focus on the needs of those around you, I want y'all to remember that God has not forgotten about you. He hears your prayers and He remembers your heart desires and your struggles. Remember that question that He posed to Abraham in Genesis 18:14, where He said, "Is anything too hard for the Lord?" And their answer is that there is absolutely nothing too hard for God. And we know that because in Ephesians 3:20 says that God is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we ask or think, according to the power that works in us. So there is nothing you could think of or ask that God cannot do. Let me encourage you with that today. There is nothing that God cannot do. Now, I want to take you back in the story of Sarah and Abraham. Y'all remember when God told Abraham that He would make him a great nation, and from him all the families of the earth would be blessed. Yeah, that was back in Genesis 12. And this promise probably didn't make sense to Abraham at the time because he and Sarah had no children and well into their senior years. They thought they were too old. And then we go on into chapter 16, and Sarah still remembered what God had promised, but she still hadn't had a child yet. So she took matters into her own hand and decided that Abraham should sleep with her maid Hagar. Abraham and Hagar had a son named Ishmael. And God allowed it, but He did not ordain it. So you must be mindful that when it comes to the promises of God, you shouldn't take matters into your own hands. You shouldn't. Because when we go down in chapter 18, God made Abraham and Sarah a specific promise, one that didn't make sense. The odds were against them because of their age. I think Abraham was 100 and Sarah was 90 years old. And by this time, it had been like 13 years since God made His original promise in chapter 12. And they had seen no signs of their earlier promise at all. So they were getting impatient. What do you do when you've waited so long and somebody is telling you that the impossible is still possible? What do you do when the promise just doesn't make sense to you? I'm here to let you know that you've got to decide in your heart not to give in to the doubt. You have to decide in your heart not to give in to the doubt. And I know that it's easier said than done. I've had to learn the hard way myself that doubting hinders the progress to your promise, it paralyzes you, and it keeps you stagnant. It makes you want to take control rather than trust God with your life. However, when you replace doubt with faith, that's when we give God something to work with. It's easy to be skeptical when the odds are against you. But I encourage you to trust God to keep His word. And when you replace that doubt with faith, trust that God will do His part and release the blessings to you. You have to believe that there is absolutely nothing too hard for God to do. Now I want you to focus on this. When you're faced with an impossibility, how did you handle it? And hearing me speak now, how would you handle those impossibilities going forward. What have you learned about faith? What areas have you discovered where you are strong in your faith? And what areas have you discovered that your faith just needs a little bit more strengthening? And then take all those impossibilities, take them all into prayer. Commit them to your prayer, you know? It's the weekend. You have a whole week coming up. Make some action. Strengthen your faith. Believe in God's promises to you. I want you to decide in your heart to think and speak positively, replacing negative words with positive ones. And trust me, it works because I do it. Just decide in your heart today that you're going to speak positively. Replace all that negative speaking. When you get ready to speak negative, just be quiet and place it with something positive. Make a commitment to yourself to intentionally respond to your doubts with declaration of faith. Make sure you do that. Intentionally respond to your doubts with declarations of faith. And then at the end of next week, note how positive you're speaking because you embraced yourself. As of today, you're not going to say anything negative. You can try. We're going to mess up sometime, but just try real hard. Just do it. I'm telling you, it works. And when you're speaking positively into your life to have good impact on your outlook and ability to trust God, things are going to start moving. You're going to see a difference. And repetitiously. You'll hear me say that word all the time because what we do over and over and over again, it helps us to build what we need to build up. If your faith is a little weak because every time you have a little doubt, you shift down, then that means that you need to get back up and push your faith up and strengthen your faith. That's when you go into prayer and you ask God to strengthen your faith. And I know we can do it. I know it can be done because I am a living testimony that it can be done. You have to want to do it. You have to want to ask God to come into your life and to change you and to make you who He already knew you were going to be. See, when we're asking for a whole new change in our lives, we don't have time to wonder about what others are thinking because at the end of the day, it's all about us. It's all about us getting our hearts right. Like I just told you, my purpose is to be an encourager. To the encouragers out there. Because I know that's what God has called me to do. I can't help it. It's in my blood. My faith is strong. I know God's going to do what He promised. I know He's going to do whatever He says He's going to do. In His time. Don't be like Sarah and just give up and, okay, well, I know He said this, so let me just try to make this happen. Don't do that. Stand firm in your faith. Call God up on His word. Just like we do with a friend that tells us something. And we're waiting and waiting. Eventually, we're going to bring it up to the friend, right? You can go to God in prayer. Get to the side and talk to Him. Lord, you said, and call on that word. And stand on your faith. Strengthen your faith. Don't go weak. One thing we have to constantly remind ourselves, God didn't say it was going to be easy in this world. And we living in it. We see it every day. It's chaotic. It's chaotic. But we got to trust and know that God is going to make things okay. And you got to remember that he hears your prayers and he remembers your heart's desires and struggles. So while you're focusing on needs around to everybody else that comes around your path, just remember God hears you too. Everything is just in his timing. We try to rush things. I used to try to rush things. I want that instant fix. But I knew that I had to have a relationship with him. I knew that I had to start from scratch and build it over. So analyze all this information. Talk to God. Take it in prayer. Read Genesis. It's the first chapter of the Bible. We all should know this story. Read it. Encourage yourself. Deepen your faith. And feel free to ask me any questions if I don't know, because I don't know everything. I'm still, I tell people all the time, I'm still trying to get there. I ain't reached it yet, but I aim forward to reach it. I don't give up, because I know God's been too good. I don't give up. I fall, but I don't stay down. You know, I'm not perfect. None of us are. We never will be. But until I see you again, y'all stay blessed. Think about the word, because it's all about the word. And let's all stay encouraged and encourage each other. Know that there's no struggle too big that God cannot solve. Give them all to him. Cast all your cares upon him. Start this day to strengthen in your faith. And while you're strengthening your faith, go positive. Stop and block all negative thinking, all negative comments. I don't feed into negativity. Believe me, I can get with it. I'm here for it. But it's just not worth my time anymore. I'm so past that stage of pouring negative back into negativity. So I rise above all that. I know the bigger picture and the bigger outcome. Men down here on this earth, many men and women, boys and girls, whoever, ain't got nowhere to put me. So stay blessed, and until we meet again,